Two. Hope everybody is good. This is Landon, aka DJ News Spirit, also known as LandRU513, also known as Muno Spirit. Helping a good friend out here from I call the UK brethren, Boony12. He had a pretty good match with LordProblemX, although it was pretty brief. But I wanted to go ahead, and this will probably be in segments, so you all bear with me. But Boony, if you are watching, this is to help out and see what I can find that'll help you elevate in the gameplay, and then also to kind of understand the matchup a little bit. So I guess it might have been a fireball input that you were trying to do, and obviously he was ready for it, and he started off with the mirror block. But that's okay. So you're +2, so you can challenge it accordingly. Good challenge with a standing medium punch. You didn't have enough time to space out the fireball after that, so the fireball from that distance, and he whiffed, and I think you backed up and threw the fireball. He was really ready for that one. So I have the same problem in that particular type of spacing. So you're -3, and you're +2, but he's going in for the scissors with the light kick scissors, so you're +4 on block. But unfortunately, Ryu doesn't have that range, which kind of sucks for us. So good block, and then that I think you might be able to interrupt that chain. So going back at that again in the corner. Okay, and that block. Okay, so +6 on that, and then he was +2. There is a gap in between that. So if you're +4 on block and he goes into that, more than likely you might have the ability to parry or probably interrupt that with a hard punch DP. So +4 and +2, and you're in that range. So you go ahead and do the math at that point, but it might be a gamble. So let's keep that going there. All right, so dash up. So let's see that. Okay, dash in, and I think you could have checked that right after that. But I know you were trying to get settled. Because if he's dashing at that range, and especially not with V-trigger, he's definitely vulnerable. So you have the ability to punish him for that. Okay, so he did that. Okay, +2, so I think you could have challenged that. Good challenge. Good DP. What button? You press standing medium punch. I think you missed your meaty, or the factor that Ryu gets some type of Oki off of medium punch, dragon punch, but I think you were trying to do the delay trap, and since he stood up and hit the light punch immediately, it stuffed your meaty altogether. So you probably have to be quicker on the draw. All right, so you're -2. The fireball. Good challenge. Very good. Very good. The Boony tech was missed, and he interrupted that since you whiffed the grab. So you have to be careful of that again. So let's watch this sequence again. So you're +14, dash, and that's a very good tech skill right there. But you just went in, instead of hitting medium punch to finish it, you went for the grab, and I think that's what blew up your game at this point. Yeah. Okay, so he's +1, +2. I think this sequence might be able to be interrupted. So looking at that, that's a possibility of that being interrupted. I'm pretty sure it is. So let's look at that again. Okay, so you must attack on that point. So that, and then boom. Yeah, I think that could be interrupted with a dragon punch. That's if you're familiar with that. And so, but take a challenge. I like the challenge on that. Missed a couple anti-airs though, but I know it's about getting settled in. Good pressure sequence. Boy, that chip damage. Goodness gracious. Man, oh man, oh man, that chip damage was something else. Wow.
Round 2.
Plus. Alright, so let's see this. Good challenge. I like the way you challenge that. Be very careful after that. So after that sequence, let's look at that again. 1, 2. So you're -6. So at that point, you kind of want to think about in that particular range. Look at your spacing in that range. If you do that, do another fireball, they're gonna get the jump in on you, or possibly that at that point. So he reacted with that. Good challenge. Missed the jump in on that point. Yeah, got to control your jump ins. That's for sure. Very good. Right here is what I'm talking about here. So that whiff right there. Be sure to finish your link or your bread and butter, because after that it could either end it with a fireball, or you could have either got a Tatsu off of that. Tatsu, or in this case a donkey kick. You could have actually got a hard punch donkey kick, if not the hard kick or any strength of the Tatsumaki. So basically worry about getting your one-hit links together, because the one-hit links will actually blow up the opponent's offense and defense. That was very good, but this is very, 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 very slick on your end right here. So that, and then whiff, and you gave him something to think about. So kind of add that to your arsenal. Okay, so that point there. Boy, them scissors can come out of nowhere. Goodness gracious. Very good. Now right here. That was beautiful. So right after that sequence, okay, so he came up with that. I love the check on that. And then you went into that. Very good hit confirm off of that into V trigger activation. Then the dash, and then the low punch, dragon punch. Believe it or not, looking at this, you have a lot of Oki you can work with here. Believe it or not. Because he's going to roll back. You got time to come in on him. And then the delayed punch and a walk. That was sexy. Very, very good, man. You actually could have finished that and got, looking at your meter, you probably maybe wanted to expend some meter at that point to really put some fear into him. So after that standing medium punch, EX Jodan Soku Tigeri, or in this case, the donkey kick. And then you could have got a good dragon punch off of that and really added up a stun bar. So let's look at that sequence again. Right here. Low punch, dragon punch. You got a lot of Oki off of that. Good walk, because if you dashed, you probably would have risked getting hit. But you got a lot of Oki. And it's created that beautiful delay frame trap that you had right there in the Tatsu. And I think you should have did standing light punch instead of standing medium punch, because I think your timing on your meaties is bad. So when you have time, after looking at this sequence, so that, look at your sequence and then look at the button he's pressing. So he's hitting the light punch button, or in this case, the light kick, and like he drummed his buttons as well too, from what I'm looking at. He did that, and he got off the light kick. That's a 3-frame from him. So look at that next time and see, go into the lab and see what you can do to stop that sequence, because he's interrupting that a lot. And I think you're trying to go for delayed frame trap when it should be just immediate at this point. Because Bison's will hit the button on get up. So let's look at this. So you missed that one. I'm pretty salty about that one. So that, let's go that frame by frame on that. One, and you jumped. How the heck did that whiff? Man. That should have linked. And that chip damage. Ginormous chip damage. So that's it for part 1. Hopefully if this stream doesn't disconnect if I go to look at the next replay, because you did a lot of things fundamentally correct at this point. This was well done on your end. So let's see what happens here. So we exit the replay. Let's go ahead and go to the next battle log here, hopefully. Okay, so we're going to look at match 2. View this replay. Alrighty. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So we're gonna put on these settings here for this one. All right. So, okay, good on that. So good whip punish on the Tatsumaki. Okay. Good Tatsumaki. All right, so you got to get. So let's see. What strength is that? Okay, that's medium kick. So I think you need to learn to get your timing down on the meaties, because he's interrupting your meaties a lot, especially their standing light kick. So you have to go and replay and try that. Okay, so let's look at that sequence again. So he used that. So that +6, +5 on block for him, and then he's going to immediately go into the axe hit. So try going to the lab and see what you can do to interrupt that. After particular sequences, I would have actually tried to dash back. Good sequence of that, and good challenge on that Tatsumaki. 3. So they're gonna go for that. So that's the way that they'll do. So he'll go behind you on that dash back. You might been able to do a cross-cut DP at that point. So what you'll do is, while you're blocking, allow Ryu to block, and then let your controller, or if you're playing with the controller, or if you're playing with arcade stick, let the directional pad or stick go in neutral, and then half circle forward into a half circle back. In this case, since your Ryu is facing forward, you're going to start from forward all the way to back to the opposite direction and hit medium punch. And that's just that. And medium punch or probably hard punch DP that might stop it, because he went directly for the grab. And so in this case, it probably been light punch DP that you could have did. Let's see here. I'm wondering if you were in range to challenge that. To check that sequence out. Good check. I love that check. Good way of having your composure and getting settled. Good meaty. So let's see it again. 2, 3. Might have an option select for you here. So you dash in, miss a grab, and then right after that you could have did possibly the dragon EX dragon punch. You hit a button in between that sequence. 1, 2. So he's +2. You're +6. So you could have challenged that. Possibly. Yeah, you waited too late. Yeah, you waited too late in the sequence. 3, 4. Yeah. You gotta lab that out and see what you can do in that sequence. Have him do that exact same sequence and lab that out and see what you can do against that. Because he was pretty well spaced out. This right here is what I was wondering, and I like the way that instead of you going in for the grab, you went in and really messed him up with the standing medium punch. That was brilliant. I really like that. Let's check that again. Plus you're +2, so it gives you time to walk, and then going into that, do standing medium punch. I would have actually, since you're that close, went into that standing medium punch, crouching uppercut into EX Jodan. But it damages damage, no matter how good or how small. So let's look at that again. There you go. Yeah, he's interrupting your meaties a lot. You gotta get that timed up. Careful of using the EX Fireball at particular ranges. I have the same problem, especially when they know what's going on, because it's like losing real estate. So try to think about conserving your meter at the right spots. Think about it this way: Ryu's EX Fireball is +2 on block, but if you use that in your neutral sequence, that gives you more than enough time to come up with your next level of pressure. Since that's +1 or 2, I think it's +2 again. So let's look at that again. Yeah, so it's +2. Yeah, it's +2 on block. Yeah. So you use that as a frame sequence. So very good. This right here is what I love. So he comes down with that, into standing in the crouching medium punch, and he does that, and that is not real. I love the way that you interrupted that. This is something I think everybody needs to look at fundamentally here. That was beautiful, very good on your end, and I'm glad I'm recording this so I can look at it myself, because a lot of this stuff is not real. That is fake pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God, that was beautiful, straight up beautiful. So right here, he's +1. I think you can interrupt that sequence once again. So that is +2. So you're +2 on block off a standing light kick. And then he goes into the furious punch. Most of them will go for furious punch because of the heavy startup, and the heavy startup on that, since he's doing it that way, it's not real. So he's actually risking more recovery in that particular sequence. So you have the option of interrupting that with either a parry or a hard punch, dragon punch. Learning right there with you. So this is when it could have been your match. Yeah, you went for the block. Yeah, if I were you, I wouldn't have went directly there. So let's look at this sequence one more time. So 1, 2, 3, dash. Could have did standing light punch. Yeah, your sequence got interrupted. That's all there is to it. Yeah, your meaties got to be a little better. Yeah, because he's beating you on the fly with that, and Tatsu you get okay. Yeah, you hit crouching light punch, and that's 4 frames. Considering that you did that. Okay, he +3. Yeah, yeah, you got beat right off the bat off of that. Maybe the challenge would have been more beneficial for you to get standing light punch off of that. So let's look at that sequence again. So standing light punch is +3 on that, and he went directly, and he's hitting buttons too, baby. So standing medium punch, which has pretty heavy. It looks like he's got a little bit of startup on that point too. Looking at this as far as the frame chart, if you have the FAT app, which I'm looking at right now, Bison, his standing medium punch is startup of 7. So if you do the math, and he's +3 on block, but he's going into that. So we look at the frame trapper here. His first move is standing light punch, and then standing medium punch. There is a 4-frame gap sequence. So that means he beat you on the fly because of the. If you think about it and do the math, crouching light punch or Ryu is +4. You've been better off to actually get a +3 with standing light punch. So if you're in that close of proximity, it's best for you to hit standing light punch in that instance. So that's how he ended up beating you. He scored a counter hit. He got that off, and he's leading up into pressure, going in for the grab. Maybe you could have woke up the dragon punch or low punch, but you jumped right after that because you're scared of pressure. I have to tell you something. When you're fighting in Bison, you have to learn to take pressure at certain instances. You can't feint not, because they're setting you up for that. So one of the bread and butters that Bisons are going to do after the grab, and especially when he has a lot of reservoir. He's got a whole bar V trigger and critical art. It's very imperative when you're fighting in these matches to look at what the opponent is working with, because therefore that gives you the slight edge of knowing what they're possibly going to do in a particular situation. He has 2 full stocks of meter to work with. He's got V trigger, and he also has the critical art. So standing heavy punch, which he is -6 on, going into double, look like you're doing an Inferno. So he went into the Inferno, which is the heavy punch version. And if we go into the frame trap calculator here, let's see here. So heavy kick, heavy punch into hard punch Inferno. Woo! Boony, he has 24 frames in between. So the next time you see them do that, interrupt it. Pay close attention to the critical art as well as the V trigger. And if they're doing that sequence, that is not a real sequence. There is a gap of -24. So don't let Bison get away with that. Any of them. A lot of people are not used to that. So that is not a real move. So He went in for that, and then right into that, and look at the heavy startup. Sometimes you can actually interrupt something, and you had the EX meter to work with. So what you want to do is lab that out. Yeah, because he didn't do the axe hit, it was just straight heavy punch. And that is a lot of... Wow, that is a lot of startup. So he ended up doing that. The damage was heavy. Let's see here. Okay. 1. So standing, crouching light kick, +2 on block. Wow. Crouching low punch, +3 on block. He's spaced out. So he had no other choice but to go in there. So let's look at this again. So I'm going to do this frame by frame. So here's a dash. 1. 2. And then look at the space in between. Right there is that gap. There's a gap with there. He had no other choice but to dash in at you. And because of the factor that you were too much in a crouching or in a defensive style block, you didn't have enough time to retaliate. And by the time he did that, you were uncomfortable and he went right behind you. Thus, he started that sequence. And that's how he got you. So basically at this point, I'd say lab.
And Bison win.
Lab those situations. Really look at what you can do, but I wish they do something about extending Ryu's hitbox on that standing medium punch. I'm beside the point that whiffed. But there were a lot of great things you did in this match. Look at the distance of where the Bison main was spacing himself out. Look at the thing that you interrupted here at the 15-minute mark about how he came in with that sequence and you interrupted it beautifully with the standing light punch. And also in particular with that as well, look at the way that you did the light punch, dragon punch. That had a lot of Oki, and I didn't even realize that myself. And you just walked and you completely interrupted his flow of pressure. So it's very important to get your bread and butters, to get your anti-airs on point, knowing what things are real and what's not real, and so forth. And I think, and then also less jumping and less being more predictable with your spacing and fireballs. And think about negative spacing and plus spacing. And that's really all I got to tell you. That as well, as far as the spacing, remember that the further out that you are when doing particular moves or special moves or whatever, the harder it is for the opponent to possibly get the jump in on you or for them to punish particular type of moves. So the further that you are, the actually more plus that you are at the end of it. So just work on spacing, anti-airs, interrupting pressure that's not real, and just start understanding what moves are real and what isn't. That standing heavy punch that he did, which was an axe hit, and into hard punch inferno, was not real. It was a 24 frame negative gap that was in there. So just understand what you have to work on. So for everybody watching, I hope this has also helped you guys. This is Landon, aka DJ New Spirit, out. Peace and blessings. Bye bye.